I'm a subject matter expert at Data Systems Analyst, otherwise known as DSA. We're a U.S. Army DoD contractor located on the East Coast of the USA in Maryland. Sarah, what about yourself?
I am currently a student at the University of Maryland, College Park, where I am studying information science and operations management and business analytics.
So we're excited to be here. This is our first international, well, I guess our second international, but first European conference, virtual as it is. And so for us, it's morning. It's 8 a.m. in the morning. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon for you folks over there. We really appreciate you having us. What are the key takeaways that we want you guys to get from this talk? We've been doing this talk for a while now. We've been teaching TechGirlz workshops for over 4 years. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get other people involved, get other people inspired. And one of the things that's exciting about it is that we're using Microsoft technology. So if you're already a Microsoft geek and using things like Microsoft Teams and some of the other technologies we'll talk about, this is a great way to go out and share your enthusiasm and your excitement about these technologies with others. And believe me, you'll find out that sharing it with especially this age group of middle school age girls is incredibly powerful and incredibly inspiring. So these are the takeaways. We want to teach not just to share, but to learn ourselves, learn the technology, learn from the girls. You'd be surprised what you learn from these young ladies. It's about the ride, not the destination. So, when we first started off, it was like, okay, we did this, we got them taught, but it's not about, finishing one workshop. It's about experiencing the workshop and what we get from actually doing the workshop. And again, it's sharing to be inspired or to inspire the girls, but also be inspired ourselves. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about TechGirlz.
Sure. TechGirlz is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating that spark of interest for those middle school girls that you're saying to pursue tech. So there have been many studies done that middle school age is crucial because when girls enter that age, that's when they start getting interested in tech. But due to lack of role models, lack of mentors, lack of real life examples, they're going to lose that interest once they exit that age. So it's really important to reinforce that they do have it because we are still experiencing that gender gap in the tech community, and we want to make sure we empower those girls. And if they are interested in it, then they should be encouraged to pursue it instead of being let down and from all the other problems that we are experiencing. So TechGirlz is really awesome, and they provide these free hands-on workshops that anyone can adopt and learn because they provide the slide deck, the curriculum, everything you need to teach the workshop. You just have to find the girls to come attend, and once you teach it, they'll learn all this new stuff, and it's real life. It's definitely something they'll use in the future. We've ran a bunch of awesome ones, and yeah, they're just out there to really inspire these girls to keep on using tech and hopefully pursue it as a career.
Yeah, and Sarah, you mentioned that we run a bunch of awesome ones. These one of the things that TechGirlz gives to us that helps us to do these workshops is these tech shop in a box, and there's a bunch of them. There's You Can Code, podcasting. This is just 6 of the hundreds that I think they have.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about some of the ones that we did. We've even made some of our own. We'll talk about some of the ones that we've made. But the benefit of working with an organization like TechGirlz is that they give us the curriculum. So we didn't have to think about, what should we be, what should a workshop entail for young ladies? What would they be interested in? How difficult should it be? These 1 stars determine the level of difficulty. So they have 2 stars. I think they have 3 stars, and you can really have your choice of, I know a little bit about, I'm interested in the newsroom area. So there's a TechGirlz workshop on newsroom story production. We did that one. That was a lot of fun. Let's talk about our team. So this is the beginning. Is this from the beginning, Sarah? Is this the first one? Back 4 years ago?
Yes, very first workshop.
So you can see that I'm down there in the front. Sarah's in the back. We got our vice president, Kathleen Kirk. She was having executive support, really helped our team. Tracy Schreiner, our chief learning officer, and then a whole bunch of participants and other volunteers. This was the WordPress workshop. Sarah, tell us a little bit about the first one.
Sure. So the very first workshop we ran was creating a website using WordPress, where there's this platform called WordPress where you can create a free website, or many other places actually use it to publish their actual website with just a little bit of money. So we wanted to get them started with a free website. And when I was first approached to lead this workshop 4 years ago, back in 2016, I was terrified. Public speaking was not my thing. I was just a sophomore in high school. And at that point, I didn't really know what I wanted to pursue myself. I knew that I was interested in the STEM world, but not exactly what. So I wasn't even sure if this was my cup of tea. But I decided to take on the challenge. And I see oh, you said she was voluntold. Yes, I was. But I took on the challenge. I learned the material, and I was very nervous to teach my first one. So I'm saying this in case any of you are interested but are worried about the first one. For me, I was worried about myself being too nervous, but also the girls maybe just not being interested. We went to our local Boys and Girls Club in my county, and it was like where the kids go for after school. So I was worried this was going to be a little bit too much like school for them. But was I more wrong? These girls were so into it, asking questions, like thinking of these ideas that were beyond what I thought middle schoolers were thinking of. I made my example website about cats because I like cats, and I was like, oh, sure, middle school girls probably like that too. But they were making theirs on topics such as social injustice and their passions for music, or much deeper topics than I had expected. And these girls were just so excited that even beyond their questions, they would just raise their hand. I'd be like, hey, what's up? They'd be like, I just want to show you my website. I'm like, oh, like, I would love to look at your website. They were so excited, and that's why it's so rewarding to hold these workshops. They always get, they learn so much, but they are so excited from it. And it's too bad whenever we end these workshops, we're like, okay, bye, guys. And they're like, wait, but we want to keep working. When are you coming back? I love it, and that's why we've been doing it for all these years.
Yeah, and you talk about some of the, one of my favorite was this one. This was a workshop we did called "What's in the Computer." So you can download the curriculum from TechGirlz, and they walk you through. If you've got some old computers, it works best. We did our first one with new computers that didn't work out quite too well, but basically. You walk the girls through taking apart a computer and identifying the different parts. And you see there, the young lady has a hard drive in her hand. Taking apart, they do great at. Putting back together, not so much. So old computers are the best. And once they got started, I mean, you couldn't stop them. They were so, Sarah mentioned, so into it. There's three girls. Well, we made a game out of it. Sarah, I can't remember. What exactly did you do?
Yeah, so after the first time we ran this, we saw that they were just so excited to pull out all the pieces, and they weren't just ripping it apart. They pulled it out. They were like, what's this? What's this? But they wanted to know everything. So we had to make it a competition of who could find the piece we were looking for the fastest, so just one at a time. And when they were done, to put the lid on so we know that they got it first.
Yeah, we definitely had to give them some direction. Find the hard drive, find the fan, find the memory, the RAM. Because otherwise they would have just stripped it bare.
Yes. Yes.
Put that lid on, now find something else. But that excitement, that's what really drove. I mean, I don't know about you, Sarah, but I know I'd be, all day at work, 9 to 5, kind of bored, doing the same old, okay, update. I'm in SharePoint, I'm doing my updates. And then we go do something like this. And it was just like, you know what? This is fun. I'll do it. And like next day at work, I'm like, hey, it's inspiring. And then not only that, but then we started playing around with different workshops. So we did the WordPress, we did the What's in the Computer. We said, hey, how can we tie this in with our knowledge of Microsoft? I work for a Microsoft Gold partner, and we have a lot of Microsoft knowledge. And even if the workshop didn't use Microsoft technologies by design, the workshops are so flexible that you can change them. So one of these, well, I guess this one was using Microsoft. The very first one, this was game design with Kodoo. Now, free. All the workshops are designed to be run for free using free materials. This one's a user interface driven. I didn't even know what Kodoo was before we did this, Sarah. It's a game based.
Me neither.
But it was easy to learn. We picked it up. And Sarah, tell us a little bit about Kodoo.
Yeah, so as you saw from the title, it was an introduction to game design, and really, it's a great introduction to coding as well. As some of you might know, like, coding has lots of syntax, and it's kind of scary to look at if you're like a very fresh beginner, your first time looking at code. So Kodoo introduces block coding. You can see from the screenshot that it's very particular of the different actions, and you put them in order of the blocks, and that's how you tell your little Kodu, that's the little like icon that you move around, that's how you tell him what to do, or to create your game of collecting. Looks like in the screenshot, if you bump a fruit, then you switch the page, all those different things. For us, we create a game where if the Kodu collected like 10 coins, then you would win the game. And before we even jumped into Kodu, just to really let the girls know how important it is to do step-by-step in coding, we actually did like a human version where my dad was the robot, and they had to direct him from one corner of the room to the other. And as you can imagine, the girls first were like, oh, well, walk forward. So my dad starts walking forward, and then he just bumps into the wall, keeps bumping. And these middle school girls, they're getting a crack out of this. They think it's so funny. But they quit after that. They quickly realized, oh, we need to tell him the number of steps to move forward, to turn 90 degrees to the left, and being very particular about their steps. So it was a really great way to introduce them of how particular coding is with computers.
And they learned really, really fast. You said, I didn't bump into the wall, I think maybe the first time. And the exciting part was once they picked up sort of the syntax and how to put the blocks, their creativity came into play because they create these worlds. Kodu has this whole world building environment. And you can see this is an example where there's a lot of terrain that's put down. And Sarah, you like to talk about that one problem that they always ran into. What is it? What did they do wrong? Not wrong, but what happened to a lot of times when they're building these worlds?
Yeah, so a lot of these girls, designing is fun, and with the terrain you can create like hills and make ponds and all that stuff, but if you don't make the hill area enough for your pond, you can easily flood your world. So girls are constantly trying to fill up their pond, and then their whole world would just be flooded underwater, and they thought it was funny because they knew how to undo it. And I think some of the girls did it on purpose, actually. But it's like unlimited possibilities to design these worlds. And then Kodu also provides worlds given, and that gives the girls opportunity to explore like the possibilities you can create with it. But also there's tutorials and also just like pre-designed games for them to get used to what Kodu is like.
Yeah, and so Kodu was a blast. They learned a ton. We thought, what other workshops could we work with? And I mentioned the newsroom story production. This one was cool. This one was one of those curriculums from TechGirlz that did not use Microsoft technology, but we adapted it to use Microsoft technology. We thought, hey, let's teach the girls not only how to put together a newsroom story, but also how to use Office 365, a real world skill. We'll teach them Word online, PowerPoint online. I think, Sarah, you came up with the idea of, hey, let's get them to interview each other about their stories. And man, that was great because they were like, we love talking about ourselves. Please, I'll talk about, I like the basketball, I like to do art, and I like to do this. So this was a real popular one. But again, because we adapted it to using a Microsoft technology, it was kind of twofold benefit. Not only did they learn a good life skill of putting together interviewing and listening and taking notes and all that. One of the benefits from Microsoft is that you can get Office 365 for this purpose for free, and there's a number of ways to do that. So if you're a academic, if you're a student or faculty, I teach at the University of Maryland. Sarah attends the University of Maryland, and we both get Office 365 for free through the university. But you can also get it as a trial. So if you just want to sign up, and then you can use that to run the workshop. If you're a certified nonprofit, there's a nonprofit plan for getting Office 365 for free. And then my favorite is this developer tenant. And it's funny that, Sarah, a lot of people don't know about this, but if you go to this link, and I'm just going to bring it up to show you guys, they've renamed it. It used to be the Office Developer Program. Now it's the Microsoft 365 Developer Program. But this program gives you a free, renewable 90-day Microsoft 365 E5 developer subscription. It comes with sample data if you want to, don't want to have a blank slate. You want to load some data and see and demonstrate different capabilities. It doesn't cost anything to join. No credit card required. When you sign up, you can see this is the one I signed up for my user group, Mad SharePoint. We also have one for TechGirlz. You get 25 users. This one I think I signed up for this one when it was E3, but E3, E5, that's not much of a difference. You get the tenant for 90 days, and it's free, and as long as you're using it for development test purposes, Microsoft will renew it. I think one of these I've had for years now. This one was back in 2019. I think the TechGirlz we've had since we started. So Microsoft just renews it every 90 days. As long as I'm using it, they renew it. It's a really, really great benefit. The one question I get about this is that people say, well, I'm not a developer. And I'm like, no, you don't have to be a quote unquote developer. You don't have to write code in order to qualify this program. If you're putting together solutions, if you're coming to, in our case, we're using it for dev test, this is the program for you. And it's free. So how can you not take advantage of that? What are some other past workshops with Microsoft technology? Sarah, this is one I know you like a lot because of the whole world record that we set. Tell us about this particular workshop.
Sure, yeah. So unlike Kodu, the next step was to actually introduce girls to some real code and some syntax and all that good stuff. So we used Visual Studio Code to teach the girls basic HTML to create the first website. Very basic website, but it was a website. And we love Visual Studio Code because it has IntelliSense, color coding, it's real world skills. I'm currently using VS Code for many of my classes currently, and it's free. That is what's most important here. And then, yes, the hashtag code breakers refers to the world record TechGirlz set, which we helped with back in 2019 for the most girls coding at once. So I believe we have a little video here about that event.
Yeah, and I don't think I've got the audio on, but I'll just narrate it. So let's play. So it's a quick, it's a little under 2 minutes. Basically, it talks about the all the different people that were involved. Can you hear that, Sarah? Is audio coming through?
No.
That's okay. It's pretty loud anyway, so it's just music. This is Tracy Wilson Rossman. She's the founder of TechGirlz, and she's talking about how we set, or it was an attempt to set the world record. Is one of the locations. There was 22 locations, multiple trainers, multiple attendees. I think it was 342. Sarah, is that what the final number was? We'll see at the end of the video here. But we're in this. You have to watch quick, and you'll see Sarah in here somewhere
for a hot second.
Right. And then, the cool thing was that we were all connected, so that was neat. We all had. I don't remember what technology we used to. It wasn't Teams at the time. But we could see each other. We took breaks, and we would all kind of connect with the other 22 locations. But we were all using, there we are, Bel Air, 22. So we had 22 people. I said 22 locations. I think it was like 19 locations. We had 22 girls at our location. But it was worldwide. So there's a bunch in the U.S., but then I think we had, what was it, Colombia attended it?
Yeah.
And everyone was coding. Everyone was using some of us were using Visual Studio Code, some were using some other text editors like Sublime. But again, it was she's telling us here that there's a number 342. So we set the record. Now we need to break it, and that's what she was saying at the end. We'd love for you to go to TechGirlz.org for more information about possibly helping out with TechGirlz. Some other workshops, these are future workshops that we're planning, and one of them is not future anymore. I should update the slide. The Microsoft Teams one is not only we develop it, but we delivered it multiple times, so that's exciting. So 2 workshops that we developed ourselves, or one that we're developing and one that we developed. One is Microsoft Teams, and the other was using Power Apps. So Power Apps, we're still kind of working on this one. We're basing this on Rory Neary, I believe he's a fellow MVP. He put together a game in Power Apps, tic-tac-toe. And again, real world skills, they can actually learn Power Apps, but the idea that it's been gamified and it's free, we think it's going to be real exciting for the girls to learn the technology and have fun while doing it. He put together a nice little 10-minute YouTube video that we're using to build that workshop. And just like we did with Office 365, there is the Power Apps community plan that you can take advantage of to get access to Power Apps for free so you're not having to put out any money to be able to do this workshop. And there's the link. And we'll put the slides up so that if you want to check out these links later, they'll be available. The other workshop, which is the TechGirlz collaborating using Microsoft Teams, we developed. And we did it, and we actually did this before the pandemic hit. So we
Yeah.
wanted the girls to learn about how to use remote tools in case they might need them. Surprise.
Looks like they needed them.
Yes. And one of the big benefits of this workshop, we walk through, we talk about what collaboration is, then we actually make them do a puzzle. We love to do that sort of, in person. Though now they're all virtual. We've had to pivot all of our workshops. They used to be face to face, and now they're all virtual. So we're coming up with activities to do virtually to kind of talk about some of these concepts. But this particular tool from Microsoft is great. That allows you to demo Teams, even though you're using Teams. So we're all in a Teams meeting now, but Sarah's going to give us some walk through this demo for us and talk about some Teams features you might not be aware of. Sarah, you want to take over the screen and show us the Teams demo?
Yes, let me get to sharing my screen. All right, can you see that now?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So Microsoft Teams is super helpful and provides their own demo of the basics of how to navigate through Teams and get started. So this is what we started out our workshop with the girls. Like, they got to walk through as we walked through it to get an idea of everything to go all the capabilities of Teams. So first I want to select the different types of experience that I want, which is actually fairly new to the demo. I have only done this a couple times where it allowed me to do that choice, which is really cool. First, it talks about the navigations on the side here, all the different tabs I have: activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls, and files. So I can hit next. Then it tells me about what a team is in Microsoft Teams and how to create one and join one. So what I really like about this demo as well is I can actually click on the different buttons that it's pointing to, so it really feels like I'm walking through it. Tells me that I can create a team here, or I can join a team with a code, and then the different kinds of teams that could be public or private. So from here, if I'm creating a team, I can build it from scratch, or I can build it from an existing Office 365 group or team that you might already have from a different Microsoft product. So from here, I'm building it from scratch, and I can look at the different teams that I can choose from. So I'm selecting, in this case, Northwind Traders team to apply apps and then settings for the new team I'm creating. So I'm gonna go and give my team a name. Really straightforward setting it up. I can add a description. That's where I can indicate the privacy, all those settings to set it up. I can add my members. So I'm going through here, adding some team members to my team. I can make them an owner or just a member. And then my team is set up. This is where I can see that it's private, so that people that want to join have to be invited to be in that team. To look at more of the settings of the team I just created, I can click on the three dots here and click on Manage Team. I can see some more settings here as well. I can hide a team, add more channels, which I'll talk about in a second, add the members, leave the team, edit the team, get the link, manage tags, or delete the team. All right, now under the settings, that's where I can see all of my members and more of the advanced settings for each one of those other tabs. Now channels, I briefly mentioned this already. Those are the designated areas where you can have conversations about a specific topic. So maybe in your overall team, which is your company, maybe you want a channel, in this case, like for marketing. It's a little bit more specific. Maybe not everyone is involved in that channel because they're not involved with that marketing. So a little bit more specified topic. From here, I can see the tab for posts. So this is where the main conversation is for that channel. And that's where I can put in files and have these conversations. I can also make this channel private or public. So again, with the private, you have to be invited to be a part of that channel to see that conversation. This is where I talked about the different conversations to bring up a new topic in the channel. And they have threaded conversations. So I found this to be super helpful because if there's a couple of important announcements and you want to respond to both, it's not just a jumble of text. They have to figure out what relates to what. You can do a reply to that message that you're specifically referring to so that everyone knows that that's what you're talking about. This explains a little bit further. Once I opened all the replies, you can see all the conversation related to that one topic in your channel. From here, when I add a message, I can use the @ to tag someone, and that gives them a notification that they've been tagging the conversation and that it's particularly important to them. So from here, I'm going to tag Diego to make sure that he gets this notification. Do the check mark so that it will send. And now Diego's going to get a notification because I added him in the message. And on my end, if someone @ me, I'm going to get this red @ on the right-hand side here. So when I'm scrolling through a conversation, I can clearly see what messages I've been tagged in. So this is really cool. You can translate messages if you're talking with someone who might not speak the same language you are. So in this case, Diego's responding in Spanish. I don't know Spanish. So I'm going to click on the ellipses here and translate it to English for me. So sharing files, you can send this right into the Teams chat and it saves it under this Files tab up here. So I can send it in here and then now all my team members have access to it and can edit it live in Teams. It's also now under that Files tab, like I just said, but you can also upload directly as well. Getting ahead of myself with this demo. Upload right there. For smaller communication with either one-on-ones or maybe small groups that doesn't need a whole separate channel, that's where we go to this Chat tab, and we can see my conversations on the left-hand side there. I can start a new chat by clicking that little writing icon, and then enter my recipients at the top. So I'm writing to Emily, composing my message at the bottom there. And it has text editing, rich text editing options as well. So that's cool to add bold, italicize, anything that you need to really get your point across. And then I'll send it. And then also for group chats, smaller conversations that don't necessarily need a team. You can name the small group chat so to keep organized of what that conversation is talking about. And then you can also pop out these chats for multitasking. So you can create a separate window and have your window of what you're working on and still be able to see that conversation. And that's it for basics. This is really straightforward and easy to walk through. Teams also provides a couple other demos, chats and meetings, tips and tricks, and then also for the mobile version. So I highly recommend checking this out. Even if you're not planning to run this TechGirlz workshop, but you want to get more familiar with Teams yourselves, this is super helpful to navigate it and know how to click through everything. And it's really cool that it simulates like actually sending a message and things like that.
Yeah, and one of the things that we noticed, we've been using this demo for a while now, is that it updates. It's cloud-based, so every now we'll do it, and there's a new thing like that translation feature. I hadn't seen that before, so we're actually learning.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's out and for general availability. Let's go, investigate it, and as everyone can see, we're able to use that tool inside of a Teams meeting, so we're able to use, as Microsoft likes to say, eat our own dog food. We can use the tool to demonstrate the tool, so that's pretty cool. I'll go ahead and grab the screen back from you, Sarah.
All right.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
All right, excellent. So yeah, this is a great tool. Again, it's teamsdemo.office.com. Before we move on and talk about what we did over the summer, I want to talk a little bit more about what we do with some of the other things that we do in Teams. So the other thing that is really helpful, especially in our Teams workshop, is where we use, again, we deliver the workshop using Microsoft Teams. We tried a couple of other real popular, tools. I won't name any names, but we tried some other ones and they are okay. And I know some of the tools have like breakout rooms, and Teams is getting breakout rooms, but we didn't really find that Teams was lacking as far as features. I don't think any of the other collaboration tools really blew us away versus Teams. I mean, Sarah, I think we were able to simulate breakout rooms just by having multiple meetings. And Sarah figured out that because then you were using it even at school, right? As part of your you can have 4 different meetings going on at once and just put them all on hold. So as you exit one
Yeah.
meeting, going right, but 4 is the limit, or it was the limit last time we tried it out. So,
Yes.
you know, the other thing that we've been able to do with the ladies is this is a browser-based version of Teams. So we're using the app to actually have a meeting with everyone right now, but you can be in a different whole nother tenant. So this is my Mad SharePoint user group tenant. I have a user group called Mad SharePoint. And Sarah and I can use that to demonstrate. This is an example we were doing earlier where we were demonstrating, using GIFs or GIFs, however you pronounce that, stickers, emojis. And then the one that we love to show the ladies is actually putting up a file in this is in a chat, and then editing the file and doing that live multi-authoring. So that really, this is one we did where Sarah, she mentioned me, so I could see that she I was asking her to take a look at my syllabus, and she made some changes, and I could see her little icon dance around as she was making the changes, and I could also make changes. This particular demo, the girls love it. They love that we're collaborating live. They can see, you can have, I don't know what the limit on how many authors you can have at once, but I know at my job, we have 20 authors in a document at one point in time. But not only do the girls love it, we also give this talk to the local community. We gave this talk for the Northeast Maryland Tech Council, which is a community of professionals. And they were blown away by this. Remember when we did that talk, Sarah? And they said, whoa, pause, go back to that demo you just did.
Yes.
We did not know this was the fun. And here's the funny myth or misunderstanding about Microsoft Teams is people think that it's Teams or SharePoint. Which one should I use? Do I use Teams or do I use SharePoint? Do I co-author in Teams or do I co-author in SharePoint? And we're like, wait, what? SharePoint is behind the scenes, right? If I go to one of these teams and I click on files, there is an icon to say open in SharePoint. That's because SharePoint Online is where, when you're in a Teams meeting, your files and you're collaborating on files. Look at that. There's the SharePoint Online that supports that Microsoft Teams. And that's, the girls, they're new to it, so they're like, okay, we got it. But the adults that we teach this to are all, like, what? Wait, we don't understand. Yes, and I know there's some confusion because if you go back to Teams for a second and you get into that chat like we were showing earlier, and you click on files there, that's not technically SharePoint-ish. I mean, it's OneDrive, which you could argue is sort of SharePoint, but it is OneDrive. So that's another point of confusion that as we're rolling out this Teams workshop and working with the girls, they might, if they share a file in the chat and then they share a file in the channel, they get confused. So there is 2 different places, right? If you're in a chat, you got to go to files here, and this is your OneDrive. And if you're in a team and you're working in a team, then it's up to SharePoint Online. And so it's just, getting those 2 kind of straight. That was one of the challenges that we had when we were working this. But again, the girls learn it, and then we're learning more about, as adults, as professionals, we're learning, okay, so there's that distinction, and that's one of the benefits. That's why it's not only inspiring, but it's also helpful to learn about the tool by teaching the tool. I think we learn the most when you teach it. The other thing I'll mention, and then we'll go on to our next workshop, is this command window. This one, there's all these shortcut commands that are super helpful, and people don't realize that you can set your status to be right back really quickly with just a keystroke. There's in the web version you won't find this, but if I was in the desktop version, I still have this command capability. There's a test call that you can do, so you can test your microphone, you can test your camera, you can test your network quality, and it gives you feedback on whether things are working right. So you don't actually have to have a meeting to test out your setup. You can use the test call command, but that's only in the desktop app. But there's lots of other, joining meetings, finding, searching for text. Some of my other things that we've discovered when we delivered these workshops is both in the desktop app and the web app, you can zoom in. So for the old folks like me, hard time seeing, I can zoom in, I can zoom back out, and I can navigate. So as I navigate around here to different places, I kind of lose my place. Especially in the desktop app, you don't realize. In the web app, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I definitely can go back and navigate back. But you can do the same thing in the desktop app. There's that little the arrows are up in the same space, top left, and you can navigate back and forth. So it really is these little tips and tricks make you people think, oh wow, look, this guy really knows what he's doing. It's no, I didn't. I taught it to a few workshops, and now we picked up those tips and tricks. So that's always helpful. All right, so that's enough about the teams. We're going to talk one more workshop that we did. This is the one that we're really proud of. We did over the summer. In fact, Sarah led this with a team of other college and one high school young lady. This was the creating the website with WordPress, delivered using Microsoft Teams over 4 days. So it was a summer workshop. Sarah, tell us about the summer workshop.
Sure, yeah. So we really wanted this camp to give the girls the opportunity to have really that finished website. So we have held the creating a WordPress workshop just one day, just not even a day. It's really 2 hours, 2.5 maybe. And they get a great introduction to it, but most of the time girls don't get it finished, which is totally understandable. They want to really work on the design of their homepage, all the different posts, all that good stuff. So this 4-day one really led them up to giving them all the skills to prepare to have a really nice website and also present it at the end. So the first day we really focused on planning, what they wanted that the website to be about, and planning out their pages. Their second day was creating an infographic, so we wanted them to create a nice graphic for their homepage or maybe one of their other pages to show off. Day 3 was what you're seeing now, the agenda of doing actually WordPress, which was probably their most technical day, learning to create all their pages, the different posts, designing their homepage, all that good stuff. And the last day was finalizing everything they wanted, learning some presentation tips, and then actually presenting their website to the rest of the girls.
Yeah,
and they loved it. Sorry.
I know. I think what amazed us about this was I was so worried about teams not supporting this, or the girls having a hard time learning Teams and it being more about getting technical difficulties. And I don't think that was the case. I mean, what is your feedback? So you led the workshop. It wasn't just you and these, I think it was 40 girls, right? We had 40 girls sign up, but you also had 3 team members that you had to work with, right? You had Chloe, you had Izzy, and Priscilla. So it was a real tough. And then we threw, hey, we also want you to somehow incorporate Office 365 because we're Microsoft Gold partners. We got to slip some Microsoft technology, not just WordPress. We asked you to throw in, because we took that one workshop and made it into 4 days. So we had that flexibility to add other technologies and introduce the girls to some additional technologies. So this was a big ask of us for you guys, but you stepped up. All 4 of you girls stepped up, and I should say young ladies, stepped up, and this was hands off for me. I kind of like checked in one day and said, how's everything going? Nothing's broken, because I was working. I couldn't take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so this was during the day. Luckily, I had finished my internship by then, so we got us together. And yeah, just to go back of how quickly they grasped it. The very first day, I made sure I really went over like, hey, this is how you use the chat. It was really important for them to stay on mute unless they really had an urgent question, just because we didn't want girls like talking over one another, and also using the raise hand function to let us know when they were finished a task, so we knew kind of the time of when to move on, because usually in person we can look at someone's screen and be like, oh, they're done, we can move on. While this virtually we can't see everyone's screen at the same time. But they grasped it so quickly. They were so good about staying on mute, using that raise hand function, and also asking specific questions in the chat. I was nervous that a lot of times girls will be like, I have a problem, I don't know what it is. And I don't blame them. If they don't know, they don't know. But they were really good at being like, hey, I'm getting this when I am doing this. What can I do to fix it? And they worked really well with it. I'm really proud of them of how quickly they picked it up. But I have to thank Microsoft Teams for making it so easy to learn.
So we're wrapping up here. We're almost out of time. If you're interested in TechGirlz, go out to techgirlswithaz.org, click on their volunteer, learn about some volunteer opportunities, check out the curriculum. We really appreciate you guys taking time to listen to us. Hopefully you picked up a tip or trick about Teams. Thank you for your